Heavily Delusion is a series that came out during the spring season of anime 2023, and it's gotta be one of the best animes to come out this year so far, and that is saying something considering that this year we have had a lot of great animes, and it's very clear that this is just the beginning as the year hasn't even finished. What I really like about Heavily Delusion is just really the world of the series and just how the series can be mysterious but also horrifying at the same time. The story takes place in a world that seems to be post-apocalyptic, and while our story focuses on our two main characters, this being Maru and Kiriko, who in which they have their own goals and are trying to do whatever it takes to survive in this world, there's also another story element that involves a facility that seems to be holding a lot of secrets, and it makes it very clear this facility has something to do with how the world is as it is. But by far one of the most shocking moments and one of the most unforgettable moments that completely caught me off guard in this series was the betrayal of Robin. This is by far one of the worst betrayals, not just in Heavily Delusion but also in anime as a whole. This moment really showed us that there are people who are truly evil, and what makes it even scary is how some people are really good into hiding their true colors, and that's exactly what Robin did. But of course, before we get into that, let's just start from the beginning as to who this character is, as they are mentioned several times in this series. So Robin is a very mysterious person that Kiriko does know, and also one thing that's worth mentioning about Kiriko as a character is that while in the outside it may seem that she's a girl, on the inside in her mind she's actually a boy. You see, there's actually a reason as to why this happened, and it's the fact that Kiriko in reality is actually Haruki, her brother. Now the reason why this happened is because of a terrible event in which Haruki was almost about to be killed by a monster, but Kiriko tried to save him, but sadly they both have very tragic fates, as now Haruki's mind is inside his sister's body. But nevertheless, despite the circumstances, Haruki slash Kiriko decide to move forward, and one of the first things Kiriko wants to do is look for Robin and the doctor that did this, because as it turns out these people disappeared, and it seems that no one really knows where they are since they left no trail for people to find them. So now it's Kiriko's objective to try to find these two people, since these are two people that are very important to her, and it's very clear why at first Robin was a very important person to Kiriko, as both Kiriko and Haruki saw Robin as a father figure since he was also part of the orphanage that they were both at. So it's very obvious that because of this they formed a very strong relationship, and as the series continues this will be one of the main things that happens in the series, Kiriko trying to find either Robin or the doctor, and eventually towards the end of the series Kiriko actually obtains information in which, as it turns out, Robin is still alive and he's doing his own things. As it turns out, Robin for all these years was working at a place called the Ministry of Reconstruction. The location that he was at was a place called the Ibaraki facility. After obtaining this information, Kiriko heads out to try to look for Robin, and to which her surprise, he was actually there. At first, Robin has no idea who this person is before recognizing the face that he hasn't seen in 5 years. At first, it seems that both Robin and Kiriko are trying to see what they've both been doing for the past couple of years, and it's very clear that at first Kiriko has a lot of trust and does care for Robin, because Haruki will tell Robin that even though it may seem that they are Kiriko, in fact they're actually Haruki, as his mind is in her body. Of course, with this information Robin is a bit surprised but doesn't seem to make it a big deal. With these kind of moments you would think that everything will be going fine and nothing terrible will be happening. Well, that will be far from the case, because when Robin offers Kiriko to take a bath, while it may seem that he was just trying to be generous, it was very clear later on that he had a very disgusting and scary hidden motive. You see, after Kiriko takes her bath and as she's heading to his room, this is where Robin shows his true colors and shows how much of an evil, disgusting person he truly is. Robin grabs Kiriko and handcuffs her, and as a result of this, you can tell by Kiriko's expression that she was completely caught off guard and was not expecting any of this. And to make this scene even more disgusting, this is where Robin, while he's touching Kiriko's body, is also using manipulation tactics to berate her mind, as he tells Haruki even if it was the case that Haruki's mind was inside Kiriko's body, at the end of the day this was Kiriko's body and there was nothing Haruki can do to stop from what was about to happen to his sister. And tragically, Kiriko would be assaulted by Robin, and I think this is what really makes these moments the more shocking and the more just very terrifying to witness, as this wasn't just some random person. This wasn't like some random person that Kiriko had no idea who they were. No, this was somebody that she had a lot of trust in. This was somebody that she saw as a father figure. Both Haruki and Kiriko had a lot of trust and respect for Robin, because this was somebody that was always by their side, and this was somebody that they thought they knew very well, only in this moment to realize that Robin was not the person they thought they were. In reality, Robin was a disgusting, manipulative, and evil person who took advantage of them, who took advantage of the trust to do his own sick things. And I think these reasons alone are the reason why so many people found this scene very hard to watch, because sadly this is things that happen in the real world. These kind of things don't just happen in fiction, they happen in real life too. Sadly, there are people who have become victims of this terrible action, and what makes it even more tragic is the fact that in some cases there are people who have been assaulted by people they thought they knew, people that they had trust in, people that they thought that they would never do such a horrible thing to them. But unfortunately, there are people who hide who they truly are, and that is something that is clearly shown in these moments. If there's one thing that was shown from all this, is the fact that evil is everywhere. Somebody out there, whether you know them or not, are the most terrible human beings that could be in this world. And when they see their victim being at a vulnerable state, this is where they do their own sick things. Robin knew very well that Kiriko was going to let her guard down because she wanted to talk to him after so many years of not being able to see each other. That's what Robin used as his advantage. He used that in order to make sure that Kiriko was at a vulnerable state, and ultimately he did the things he did. And this is exactly why in so many cases when this stuff happens, when somebody becomes a victim of this horrible situation, they not only are traumatized for the rest of life because of what happened, but they don't trust people as much as they used to. When this kind of stuff happens, this can lead to the victim not only not wanting to be close to anybody anymore, but just having a hard time trusting anybody in general. This can also include to people that they are really close to as well, and it's a very messed up situation to be in. But with all this being said, that didn't mean that Robin was able to get away with it with no punishment, because Maru, after being concerned since Kiriko hasn't returned for quite a while, decides to go and look for her. And not only does he rescue Kiriko, but he also gives Robin the things that he deserves, and that is a very hard beating. And if you have watched this series, you would know that Maru isn't an average human. No, this person is somebody that can easily take down anybody no matter who they are. He has shown to have a lot of skills to be able to take down any person, and that's exactly what he did with Robin. And that was just really great to see somebody as terrible as Robin be completely powerless against Maru, because Maru wasn't going to hold back, and he was very quick to show us this when he starts to beat up Robin. And you can tell from his face that he had the intent to kill Robin right then and there, and he was about to, if it hadn't been for Kiriko stopping Maru and telling him not to kill Robin. Now, of course, I've seen the debates of people about this, in which some people argue as to why Kiriko stopped Maru from ending Robin's life even though he deserved it. Well, there's actually an answer to this. Once again, if you have watched this series, you will know that there was actually things that happened beforehand that really were troubling Maru, and it was the death of Dr. Usami, in which Maru felt extremely guilty about that doctor's death because he believed that his only purpose was just simply to harm and kill, and that he couldn't save anybody even if he wanted to. That is something that Maru was always dealing with in his head after that whole incident. He always felt extremely guilty for everything that happened, and he felt responsible for the doctor's death. Kiriko, realizing this, stopped Maru from killing Robin, not because she thought that Robin was still a good person, because that was far from the case, and even Kiriko realizes that what Robin did was something unforgivable. But at that moment, her concern wasn't Robin, the sack of human garbage. No, it was Maru. She didn't want Maru to follow a dark path after killing someone intentionally. No, she wanted to prevent that from happening, so that's why she stopped Maru from finishing Robin. But even though Maru wasn't able to deal with Robin completely, he still vows towards the end that if he happens to see Robin once again, he is going to actually kill him for real this time, showing us that at this point Robin is not going to have to realize that he has a target on his back, and that person that he's going to have to worry about is a person that is capable of actually ending someone's life, and he is going to do it for a person like Robin. And to be honest, I'm really looking forward to that, because at the end of the day, people like Robin should not exist in this world and should not be able to have normal lives after the things they did. So overall, Robin has become not only the most unlikable character in Heavily to Delusion, but one of the worst characters of all time in anime. And another thing that I forgot to mention earlier was the fact that what makes this also disturbing as well is the fact that you don't really know if Robin was always like this from the start. What if this was always been the type of person he was from the very beginning, since we were introduced to him? What if all this time he was just simply making up a persona that he was a trustworthy person that can do no wrong, only so that he could get the trust from the people around him like Kiriko and Haruki? If that's the case, then this just makes Robin one of the most dangerous people, as it goes to show is that for all this time, Robin could have just simply been waiting for the right opportunity to take advantage of someone that fully trusts him, waiting for that person to be in a vulnerable state in order to do what he wanted to do with them. If this is the case, this is what truly makes Robin as a character all the more terrible, as this wasn't a case of somebody not knowing what they were doing or making a very terrible decision at the very last minute. No, this was somebody who plans, who is very good at taking their time into getting the things they want. That's really what makes this whole situation very terrifying, and hopefully maybe in the near future of this series, Robin gets what he truly deserves, and that is a fate worse than death. So yeah, that's pretty much my entire video. This was kind of a very dark, heavy topic video, but I mean, these are things that should be talked about more often, because these are things that sadly do happen in real life that some people try to ignore. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire video. See ya.